inside your rules. Been holding back too long. Can't breathe in this space you built around me wrong. Feel it coming now. Feel it rising up. Breaking point, no turning back. Can't cage this feeling anymore. Breaking free on the dance floor. Whoa, whoa. Can't cage this feeling anymore. Watch me as I break the door. Hey, hey, hey. Your chains are breaking down. Every beat sets me free. This rhythm in my blood is all I need to breathe. You can't control me now. Feel it coming now. Feel it rising up. Breaking point, no turning back. Can't cage this feeling anymore. Breaking free on the dance floor. Whoa, whoa. Can't cage this feeling anymore. Watch me as I break the door. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Slow motion, breaking loose. Time suspended, what's the use of all your rules, of all your lies, when freedom calls, when freedom calls.
So that intro track, oh wait one sec, click. That intro track, I produced that track. Spoiler alert, using AI, one prompt, one shot, right? So we will get to that. First of all, I need to set expectations for this stream. It's going to be purely AI focused, and the title was not bait. We are going to talk about Manus and Gen Spark AI, but I'm not going to be demoing them other than possibly like there will be examples, but it's not going to be like live demos. Unfortunately, I still don't have access to Manus, and with GenSpark, you only get the free accounts, only get 200 tokens per day. I've already smoked mine, right? So that's the deal. But we are going to be talking about a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking about my new channel that I'm setting up on where I'm going to set up a new channel that's going to be focused on AI, and it wouldn't actually let me stream to it because it's got like a 24-hour block when you first start a new channel. And so I'm doing it here, recording it also. So this video might actually end up on that channel. By the way, I'll get you guys that channel in case you want to follow it. And then if possible, I'm going to be dual streaming to this channel and that channel, like to the Twitter live and to YouTube from now on, to bring the most up-to-date, most highest alpha, most urgent stuff to do with AI, because everything is moving so incredibly fast. You hear people say things like, oh, if you're not implementing AI in your day-to-day, then you're falling behind. You really, like, you legitimately really are. It is crazy how much stuff comes out every single day. There's new models, new everything, new, like there's something new every single day. And today is one of the biggest things that has dropped. We'll jump straight into talking about, sorry, we need to talk about this intro song, right? So that was a tool called Refusion, right? It's still in beta, so it's still completely free. And you can one-shot you just put in the prompt. I think for that particular song there called Break Free, by the way, it chooses the title, it chooses the graphics, it chooses everything. I think my prompt was just something simple like punk rock female lyrics over drum and bassy, breaksy kind of beat. And it created that, which I thought was really good. And so that's an example of what I call a narrowband AI tool, where it's like, it literally is an AI tool, but it only does one specific thing. And what this channel is going to be focused on, or the channel, it's going to be focused on the Holy Grail, right? We mentioned the Holy Grail in the title of the stream. The Holy Grail is the one shot. The Holy Grail is an AI agent that you just literally say to it, I want you to do this, and it just goes and does it. It just does it. It just goes and does it. Like, it just does it. So, no, and minimal follow-up questions with queries and minimal human interaction, minimal oversight, minimal everything, right? So the minimizing the human involvement is really the key to these AIs. And then ultimately, as the next step after that, and we're getting way ahead of ourselves because we haven't even really got solid agents yet, is to have them so that they're kind of running all the time, so that you don't, it's instead of starting it and going, hey, I want you to go and do this, and then it goes and completes the task and ends, it's just sort of like that AI is kind of like an employee where it just actually works for you and actually thinks, hey, is there anything else that needs to be done around here? So that's the deal. That's the Holy Grail. We are going to get there where it seems like we're closer and closer and closer every day. And the thing that started me off on this journey, which I really want to document on the new channel, and I also want to hand out and give the shortcuts and the alpha on things that took me a lot of time to research, work out, and test, is it's all started with when I first saw Manus, and I think that was a turning point for a lot of people. That was a hype point where, you know, some people downplayed it and said, oh, it's just some software wrapped around existing AIs. But in reality, who cares? What we want, that's what we want. We want a system that effectively behaves like an AI assistant. And if that requires there's various ways to achieve it. With Manus, it didn't require any setup from the user. So it was we call it a no-code solution, right? You don't have to code anything. And then there are so let's go to the Manus website, right? So I still don't have access to this one. So this is Manus. The site is manus.im. And it was the first insight that people got into what it could be possible and what an AI can be capable of beyond just making an image, answering a question, what I've been calling narrowband AI, right? So this was the first time that it was bringing these tools together and allowing the AI to do more than just a narrowband task. And that inspired a lot of people. There ended up being an open source version of it that got created called Open Manus. But again, you needed to be able to code a little bit to set that up, and people deemed it to be not as, it was reviewed as being not as powerful and capable as Manus. And then, so that became the goal, right? That became the goal. And so there was open source communities started working towards this, and companies started working towards it, and it has been especially because everyone got to see the demand. This thing quickly went over 1 million person waiting list, and people who did have access to it were putting out demos that were very, very, very impressive, where you'd ask it to go and do something and it would open up 50 web browsers and start doing concurrent AI stuff. And so very impressive, very inspiring. And myself and many others got down to business going in and trying to create some, especially by not having access to this, they maybe did everyone a favor, because everyone was like, okay, we don't have access to this, let's build. And so I do actually have a Telegram channel that is dedicated to this mission, and the main focus of it is an attempt to do everything in a way that is completely free. And there's two reasons for that. One is, so just to plug in fact, I think, the channel link is actually going to be in the description once I'm on the other platform, but it's t.me/art versus science, all in one word. I'll put a link on the Twitter side as well. So the idea, there's two reasons to try and keep everything for free. One is it maximizes the accessibility so that there's no cost barriers to people being able to mess around with, play with, and enjoy and benefit from this tech. But also, because this space is moving so insanely fast, as I already mentioned, you end up in a situation where if you pay for something, you don't, like, within 24 hours, there could be something that comes out that's even better and might be free or whatever. And especially a lot of them are subscription services. So you're signing up for a minimum of a month, and the landscape just changes so dramatically and so dynamically that it's just not really worth it. I have paid for some AI tools, and all of them, it's been a mistake, like for those exact reasons in terms of how fast everything moving. Now, with GenSpark, I'm going to give you the example. One of the lads in the Telegram, as soon as I dropped it in there, he went and used it in the free version. And one of the things that it can do is it can make phone calls on your behalf, which really is starting to tread into real world stuff, right? Because you think an AI agent is going to be more comfortable in the digital space. I've had a lot of trouble setting up web browsing, surprisingly, but we'll get into that in a bit. This guy has a real world business, and so he asked GenSpark, since we're talking about GenSpark, let's pull up GenSpark. Here it is over here. You'll see, like, I ran out of credits making a meme. So he asked GenSpark to go and make an appointment for him, a fake appointment for a fake person at his real world business. And he was so impressed by the result, he immediately went and bought the paid version. But you'll notice that even the paid version, it's pretty cheap. It's only $20 a month, but it's $20 a month if you buy a whole year. It's $25 a month if you don't, if you buy it by the month. But see how you still have a credit limit? So I don't really like that. If I'm paying for a subscription, I want unlimited access. By the way, the people who were lucky enough to get into the Manus private testing, they were able to just use it without restriction. And for free. So that was pretty insane. So that's the deal right there. So that's cool. So now I know someone well who has the paid access. So if no one else is producing content on demonstrations of what this thing is capable of, we'll at least have a line into what he's doing. And he's doing some actually very cool stuff where he's actually training his own AI models so he's actually got hardware to retrain AI models and to create his own custom stuff. So I'm sure I'll be quoting him and pointing to him as examples of what's going on and getting inspiration there quite a bit on this channel, and might even have him on if he wants to. Otherwise, he might want to retain his privacy. Now, that's another thing with the privacy side of things. That's another thing, and this might actually be a good point to bring up. So there's a website that I really, really, really like, partly because it's on a similar kind of mission, even though ours is very focused on the AI agent side of things, and this site is more focused on, like, maybe a little bit broader than just AI agents. However, they do mention the privacy-focused solution. So this is aitools.gg, and so they've got this setup where for each, because let's be clear, there are like a gazillion AI tools. There's like an absolute gazillion AI tools. There's just like, and there's new ones coming out every day, and then the crown gets just taken in each one. And remember, most of these are just narrowbanders. They're narrowband AI tools, so they just, like, you're like, oh, what's the best AI for doing this, doing that? And so most people will know the answers to what's the greatest AI tool for creating an image, right? Most people are like, oh, okay, yeah, this and this and this, even though even that has been shaken up recently with Midjourney used to be considered the king, and now the ChatGPT latest thing that came out has overtaken it. But the point here is these guys simplify their recommendations down to best in class, a free alternative, and a privacy or local option. So you're running the AI locally, or you're building it locally so that you've got more control less censorship and more privacy, right? So I like how rather than consumer choice syndrome type stuff, for people who just like, don't give me a million tools, I just want to know like what's the best, or I just want to know like what's the best one that's free, or I want the one that I can run locally. This site does that. They've also got what I consider to be the best AI news. I go here for my AI news. They've got this news tab here in purple. And so I haven't actually looked at the news today. And so there's a new, an open Quen. So so when it's like, you'll get the setup is open whatever. So open Manus, by the way, I mentioned that before, wasn't by the same team as Manus. It's the open source attempt to create a Manus-like equivalent. So this isn't even necessarily by Alibaba, but it's open Quen, because a lot of this stuff is open source, right? Especially the stuff coming out of China, a lot of it's open source. So this is like a open Quen VL, fully open and compute efficient multimodal large language model. So look, they're even like making new acronyms where an MLLM is a multimodal large language model, which just means it can handle more than text as input and output, right? Multiple modes of input output. So researchers, and so I like to just go through here and just see if there's anything that is relevant to agents. So yeah, like Dolphin. If you keep an eye on this news page, right, there's like there's multiple things a day, right? You can see like there's 3 that have just come out already today. And this is in real time. And it's just like you'll start to see how much stuff is coming out every 5 seconds, and not all of it will be relevant to you, but this one's relevant to us. Ultimate Guide to MCP, right? Model Context Protocol. That's the thing, that's the standard that allows these agents to use the tools. And interestingly, there's a lot to get through, right? So I've been down the AI rabbit hole literally for full-time hours for over 3 weeks now. And I've been meaning to make videos to kind of like put the information out there. It's why I created the Telegram. But I just have been so locked in. I just was and this is the part of the problem, right? Every time I'm like, I should make a video about this, it's like another 3 new things come out that I need to test. So MCP is the standard that these AIs use to access tools to give them greater capabilities. But some of these AI models now are including some of these tool sets by default. So it gets a little bit confusing. So you'll start to hear people saying, this particular AI that you go to, like web-based, has the ability to search the web in real time. It wasn't that long ago that LLMs were only up to their training, only knew what was up to their training data cutoff, and then you'd talk to them, they wouldn't have any idea about live real world events that had happened since their training data cutoff. And it's like, for most things that you want, that's nearly useless, right? Because we live in this like hyper-connected, hyper-updated information age. And so to have this situation where it's like, you're like, oh man, this thing doesn't actually know the stuff that happened within the last week. That's the main things that I need it to know about. So it was pretty quick that models brought in this ability to have some kind of understanding. So their training data goes up to a certain point, but then they also have a tool that allows them to access real-time data. And the other thing that's important to know about is the idea of APIs, which is whether you have to go directly to the model. So something like Grok, I don't think they've actually got APIs open yet, except maybe for the highest paid tier or something like that, maybe, but I don't think they do, which means for the purpose of setting up an agent, you kind of can't use that as its brain. Like you can't use that as its reasoning model, because you need something that can talk to the AI and get the responses without you actually having to go to the website. And by the way, I know you could code up something that would actually go and do it like manually, automatically, but that probably breaks terms of service. So just be careful with stuff like that. I started building something like that and then realized that you could get your account shut down and stuff like that for sort of like doing it like an API workaround. So what else? What is this actually saying? This is okay. Yeah, so that might be good. We'll take a look at that at some point. I'll take a look at that. So it was Anthropic, which is the creators of Claude. So if you've heard Claude, that's by Anthropic, and they were the ones that set up this standard, and now it just seems like it's gone viral and everyone uses it. And so MCP, that's where it's at in terms of the communication between the AIs and their tool set. But yeah, so you guys can have a browse of this. I won't go through and bore you, but that MCP one's probably the most relevant to our mission. We are going to get that Holy Grail, bro. We are going to get that Holy Grail. And on this channel, we will still talk about some of the narrowband tools. We might even talk about like AI ethics and stuff like that at some points. But the main focus, the main mission is a capable, free AI agent. And so that's the news. What else? Oh, until this GenSpark thing came out, and obviously we haven't all had a lot of time, I've got to wait for my credits to renew before I can even dive into that again. Up until that point, the best we had was this thing called RooCode, right? And in fact, this website's got a somewhere in here has got there's step-by-step instructions for installing RooCode. This thing is that's the duck's nuts. This RooCode setup. So you just install Visual Studio Code, and then you just search the extensions for RooCode, and then you just add in the API to whatever AI you want to use. The best one at the moment is Gemini, like Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro. It also works really well with DeepSeek, the latest DeepSeek, the one that they're like colloquially calling version 3.1, but I don't know what the official name of the model is. And so this is the crazy thing, is like everything's moving so fast, and depending on whether, so by the way, I wouldn't consider, even though RooCode, strictly speaking, is a no-code solution because it codes for you, I think if you don't know at least the basics of coding, it might be frustrating. It could be difficult to use. But by the way, they're bringing out updates to that thing like every day or two. You'll see it just keeps getting updated, right? So they're obviously on that mission as well. I think RooCode is on the mission to giving people a locally deployed, open source, free AI agent with like really good customizability. By the way, it's a fork of Klein. So those two things are kind of the same. They're kind of the same thing. Right. What are we looking at here? So I also first I want to show you guys in this Telegram, right? So yeah, I dropped that news about the GenSpark there. But in this Telegram, can you guys see that? Yeah, sick. So there's heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of alpha in this Telegram. One of the things that's in here here are all the different AI agents that we set up, built, explored, searched, tested until we landed on RooCode as being the best in class at the moment for free access. And in fact, you would argue even if you start to consider paid services, it's still right up there. And so there was Claude Desktop, Agent Zero, VSCode with Klein, VSCode with RooCode, Diffie, Open Operator or Browser Base. They're the same thing, or one's like a wrapper of the other. Computer.new, Google Deep Research. That's really not an agent. Well, it's a blurred line, right? It's a spectrum. Open Manus, Manus and Open Manus, which are two different things. And then Grok 3 is in there, even though it's not an agent either. And this just kind of gives you an idea about the number of things that were similar or looked like they had potential that can take up a lot of time that you're looking into and maybe don't deliver on the promise. And something I want to say about this is the distinction between an AI agent and something that is technically just automated workflow with AI involvement, like AI improvement or capability, right? So I found like something like Diffie, and there's another one as well, the name of it, forget the name of it, but they're effectively just workflows that at one or more of the steps within the workflow has AI intelligence built into that step. And so that's not what we're looking for here. We want the full agency. We want to be able to tell it to do something, and it is choosing the steps. It's making up the steps, right? It's creating the workflow as part of what it's doing. Not so for some enterprise solutions where they want better reliability and better, so less likely for things to go wrong, more robust, more reliable, and those sorts of priorities, then you would maybe still be leaning towards something like that. But we're dreaming big over here. We don't want something where it's like you still have to set up, and then now if you want a different task or it's a different thing, then you have to create a whole new workflow again. Like, what? I don't have time for that. I've only got 3 weeks straight to spend like researching AI. So yeah, important distinction, important reiteration of what our mission statement here is. I really encourage you to go and use something like genspark.ai with that free trial thing, just to see how crazy it is, so that you get inspired to pay attention as we go along, right? So if you're watching this video on YouTube, obviously subscribe to the channel, and I promise you that I am going to be keeping the channel up to date with the latest stuff, the best, highest quality things that we're building. Anytime we have a win, anytime we have a success on something, we're gonna be keeping it completely up to date. That's my promise to you, and all you need to do is subscribe to the channel to be. And for anyone that's watching this on Twitter, I'll get that channel name. I think it might just be called Art versus Science, or Tangent, or something. Let me just go on. Where's it at? How do I get the channel name? Anyway, oh yeah, here we go. View your channel. I know you guys can't see this, but that's all right. So it's, is that my handle or the channel's handle? Anyway, try if you guys are keen to go and sub before there's even a video on there, because this will be an upload rather than a live. It's tangent-AVS. So AVS obviously standing for Art versus Science. I thought that name was quite appropriate for the channel, because it's like there is a blurring of art and science, right? When you're dealing with things to do with AI, because you've got things like the image gen and the video generation, and just like everything that it's capable of, the coming to life of technology and computers is artistic, in my opinion. And so, yeah, let's go. What else have we got over here? Oh, you know what? I think this video has gone on along. I was going to show you guys another narrowband tool. Part of the reason why I wanted to get a video onto the channel like ASAP is I want to start seeing some of these other narrowband tools in action. Things that, so with the latest GPT release, you've got an incredible ability to create thumbnails for videos for YouTube thumbnails, just because of the way that now the way that it is able to use a reference image and only change the thing that you want, rather than it just generating a whole new thing. It also got a lot better with text, because before, text was a real problem. Like, it's crazy to think back that just a month or two ago, AIs were still struggling to draw hands properly. Like, they were putting too many fingers or not enough fingers or whatever. And now it's like having a high-level graphic designer. So think about all of the things that it can do now. And by the way, that's why the agent is such an exciting value proposition is the AI really brings together all of these narrowband tools, all of these narrowband AIs. Imagine having an AI agent that can just go and use all of them or whatever, and just it chooses what to use and it goes and uses them. And then, so you've got a super powerful agent that's going and using these super powerful tools. And it's like you've got a software engineer, a freaking graphics designer, and everything. So you just absolutely wild. It's going to be absolutely insane. And that's it. That's what we're doing. Just going to check. Oh, I was even on the wrong tab. So that was the one I was going to show you guys. We'll do that in a separate video. There is literally an unlimited amount of things to talk about that already exist in AI. And then because things are coming out literally every day, that's just breaking cutting edge stuff every single day. I know that we're not going to run out of things to get excited about on the new channel. This was an interesting one. Amazon brought out effectively a web browsing agent that's not just for their products, like it can go broad, only in the US. So it says right there, we're only accepting customers in the US. And so, yep, that's another interesting one. If you guys want to stay really up to date and or ask questions, then obviously the Telegram t.me Art versus Science is the place. I think there's already like nearly 100 people in there, and then obviously the YouTube channel tangent-avs. I'll try to make the channel name like something a little bit easier to talk about. For the videos that are going to be coming out frequently about this stuff, and we'll just continue the mission. We'll continue the whole entire thing until we literally find the Holy Grail of AI agents. That's it.